I'm muted. I'm a professional. Episode 99, and I can't unmute my mic.
One day it's going to go incredibly swimmingly, and you're not going to know what to do with yourself.
That's true. That's going to be the end of the show. Like one day everything's going to go perfect, and I'm going to be prepared, and everything's going to, and I'm going to be like, that's it. We've peaked. But yeah.
You mean everything was done on time, and I came in with my mic unmuted, and everyone could immediately hear me say hi. Oh my gosh, what has happened to me? Production off of the charts.
Right. And I sent you the link more than 10 minutes in advance. The show.
For everybody wondering, I got the link to join in I literally 5 minutes ago. So
that's true.
We're here.
That's true. Yeah, we're professionals, I swear. So you're traveling again. I see different location every week. I feel like.
Yeah. So speaking of last minute, it was literally 4:00 in the afternoon on Friday. My boss calls and he goes, "Hey, we need you in Marion, Ohio, Monday morning." I was like, "Cool, I can do that. Let me figure out rental car and hotel situations. Love everything about this."
Yeah.
But with that being said, I didn't have to fly this time, so that's a plus.
Well, that's good, I suppose. I mean, I guess it depends on the drive.
It's like a 3.5 hour drive. It's not that bad.
That's not too bad. Yeah, that's tolerable. Not with a toddler. I've learned.
Is that a different experience?
Yeah, it's so funny. Once you have a young child, your preference for traveling goes from like daytime to like nighttime, like 9 o'clock onwards, because they're sleeping. You're just like, I would rather drive from 9 p.m. to like 4 a.m. than in the middle of the day when they're awake. It's an interesting thing that happens.
I've not gotten to enjoy a lot of travel with children, but I'm gonna have to like bank that away for future uses.
Yeah. Well, next time we're at an event together, maybe CCS or something, we'll invite you. Just a quick ride to the airport, and you can
take this 15-minute ride with us and see what life is like.
Yeah, that's true. Question Warlord pointing out you can listen to a lot of Lorcana podcasts in that amount of time. That's true. And Chris at Questing for Lore has an excellent podcast, so that works. Let's see. Yeah. So shout out to the chat who's here. Chat's on fire already tonight. Steve Witz in the parks. It looks like no Lorcana anywhere. That's sad, but you have a Lorcana podcast with you, so there's that. Yeah. So other than traveling for work, Logan, how was your week?
It's pretty good, honestly. Again, just watching the slow trickle of all of the reveals that are coming out for Fabled. We still don't have all of the cards yet, so we still haven't been able to accurately build decks. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting to see what cards they've chosen to come back. And then Lorcana fanatics, Dan and Lily, they messaged us not too long ago. The DLC in Beijing is coming up, and that format is going to be Vegas format plus 5 Fabled cards.
Wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Plus 5 Fabled cards? Which cards?
It's going to be the Ruby Singer Power Line, the 2-drop.
Okay.
The Sapphire Mulan that has Princess Synergy. The Amber Queen that has support, and I think it's Princess and Queen synergy. The legendary Steel Scar, the Allies synergy one, and the Emerald Max Goof that is the 2-drop 3/3 with the pay 1 ink. You can get a song of 3 cost or less from your discard.
Interesting.
They're hoping, or I don't even know if hoping. I think they're wondering if those extra 5 cards from Fabled will change what decks we see at the top end of day 2 of the DLC. So I thought that was an interesting thing because I honestly had not looked up anything about the Beijing DLC or what was happening. So
No, I haven't either. I just assumed that it would be, just an older format without sprinkling in those cards. I wonder, like, have those Fabled, like, special edition packs been released in China yet? I'm guessing that's why they're doing this.
I don't know.
Huh.
I do know that they're trying to catch them up to us.
Right.
I don't know what that timeline looks like, but introducing them to set 9 cards and set 5 pretty soon, I think is interesting, and we'll see if like any of them do make the cut. Because if you remember, Vegas was when people really discovered that Emerald Steel was as strong as it was.
Yeah.
But also Ruby Sapphire was just kind of like Sisu on Ice was dominating anything that really wasn't hard targeting it. And I think that's why Emerald Steel did so well, because One Jump Ahead was still kind of the premier ramp on turn 2. So the Ursula Emerald 2-drop was able to kind of stop Ruby Sapphire in its tracks if you opened well.
Right. Yeah, that was the DLC. We saw Zan just crush people with like half his deck in his hand most of the top cut.
Everybody crazy. Remember the last game of the finals? I remember the last game of finals.
Yeah, right. Like
Zan molds 7 and just opens perfect, and we're like, that's
it.
That's how that works sometimes.
That's the game. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, it was a good DLC though. So yeah, there's interesting news. If anybody in the Discord server sends me a note with if you have any infographics or anything in that, feel free to send it. We'll throw it up.
I actually do have like the cards that they're going to be sharing from Fabled. If you'd like to see that, or like,
sure, and throw it up here in a moment.
Now, granted, all of it is in Chinese, so
that's fair. We can see the cards at least.
Yeah,
perhaps, maybe. My Chinese
you can see the cards,
non-existent. But yeah, so it's interesting. Well, that's fun news.
I do think it's weird that they're only choosing 5 of the inks to put a card in instead of all 6. That's weird, but maybe they just decided none of the new Amethyst cards were fair enough to go in there.
Right. It is strange. Yeah, right. Because you really have to count on people paying attention to the announcements, everything else, to know that you get these cards out of step, but not these cards. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how people build around that. Yeah, fascinating. I don't know. Neat. Didn't see that coming.
I also didn't see that coming, and I mean, like, I hope that one of them ends up making the cut in a deck that will make day 2, because I think that would be interesting. I think it would be telling for the power level of any of those cards, but I guess we'll just have to see in a world with, Sisu on Ice and Let the Storm Rage On and Brawl, how any of those cards fit in. I think the Emerald Max has the most potential of really, really shining, honestly.
Right. It's an interesting point too. Seeing which cards shine, because I'm sure that these decisions were not made for the global audience. They were made purely for what's best in that market. But it does add a little bit of intrigue for those of us excited for Fabled, rather than watching, a little bit of just history for us. Perhaps, as you suggest, there's 1 or 2 cards that actually, do some work over there in Beijing, and people get excited about building around it. So yeah, I don't know.
No, for sure. Like, if any of those cards are good enough to make the cut in set 5, then immediately, with our Fabled rotation, I think that's cards that people would immediately pick up and be like, all right, well, if they were powerful enough in this meta, then they're powerful enough for us to build around here. Let's see what tools we have left over that we can push with them. I don't know. I'm super excited. I'm really curious to see if it plays out the way it did for us, or if something else happens, or just what the meta looks like in general.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see. I wonder. Yeah, maybe I can catch some of that coverage this weekend. Yeah,
that's gosh, when is the date? I think it's the beginning of next month, actually.
Oh, is it ways away? Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, the announcement this early. Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Beijing DLC 9, 13, and 14.
So that's the same weekend as CCS.
Denver.
Is it Denver? Okay, so CCS is the previous weekend. Denver is that weekend. Okay, so
maybe
I won't catch the coverage.
Ink and CCS are the first week of September, and then Denver, the PPG Denver is the weekend after. So
yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Wow, I'm gonna have to pay attention. That'll be fun. I can't wait to do a video about that now. That'll be fun.
I mean, like, speaking of that, we just have so much coming up in such a short amount of time. I think we touched on it last week, but I almost can't believe that Fabled is here. Like when we touched on it last time, I remember the first time we saw promotional material for Fabled, and now being 2 weeks out from it hitting stores.
Yeah,
it almost doesn't feel like real life. It's crazy.
I know. Like, yeah, yeah.
Like this time 2 years ago, I think I was playing set 1 Lorcana.
Yeah, no, it is interesting, and I wonder why. We covered this last week too. Like, this is the first time that we saw sets, actually 3 sets out. We knew about Fabled before Arcasia's Island even came out.
Oh man, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we got that teaser. So perhaps that's part of it, is we've known about it for so long that all of a sudden it crept up on us, and yeah. So really, really excited about that. So we do have actually, I should let the audience know. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. And I should have mentioned this up front. If you have any questions for us throughout the show, feel free to ask. We may have another guest come on a little bit later. And happy to answer your questions, especially you one person hanging out on Facebook. Again, hats off to you. But everybody else on every other platform, feel free to ask any questions throughout the show, and we'll answer them. We do have Logan. You do have to go at about the hour mark. I know. So we'll let the chat know that.
Unfortunately, work is wanting me to be up at the site at 6 a.m. instead of just awake at 6 a.m. And that's a different kind of time frame.
Yeah. Bringing JDZ in. No. I mean, JDZ is always welcome to join us, though. All people have to do sometimes is send me a note on Discord. They know how to get in. So we'll say goodbye to you about the hour mark. We'll probably hang out a little bit later with one of our guests if they make it. But always sad when you have to leave early. So we do have some fun stuff to talk about. We've got some graphics, which we're going to go through all the cards that have been revealed so far, and talk about our predictions for the various colors. I do want to catch up on a couple housekeeping things, though. Before we do that, first, for those who haven't seen, I'm going to plug our channel real quick, if you don't mind, Logan. For those who haven't seen, we've got all of our Gen Con coverage up.
Well, don't be upset at me for plugging my channel on my show.
Well, no, I feel like it's our show at this point, and so I feel selfish. But we do have our Gen Con coverage coming out. We have our full vlog to go, but we managed to do some interviews there with Greg Tito, Stephen Cooper, the head of Organized Play, and then Elaine Chase. And we also did a video covering Collection Quest where we followed Sarek throughout his Collection Quest. So if anybody's interested in any of those are on our channel. We got those up. I'm proud of that because I'm usually way behind. So feel free to check that out if you're interested in Gen Con and some of the stuff coming up from the folks working on the game. Second thing I wanted to do, where's the slide? Sometimes you like doing community shoutouts. I saw this note. Shout out to Julie Matthews. It's on Facebook. First time ever making the top 4, and then won a set champ, took it down. with the Steel Song there. And so congrats to Julie. I don't know if Julie's watching or if anybody knows Julie, but I wanted to shout her out because this post made me happy. So shout out to her.
I think those things make me the happiest, and like seeing in Lorcana. Like, some people I think are kind of jaded about how set champs go, or just attending set champs in general, because we've been doing it for a long time now. But some people, set champs are essentially their DLC level events. I mean, they take them just as seriously, and a win there for them is just as huge as somebody making day 2 at a DLC event. So no, anybody who tops a set champs and that's your accomplishment, or had you not done that before and you finally reach that goal, that's amazing. I love seeing things like that.
Me too. It makes it well said. It just makes me happy. And then the last thing I have to do, I think I'm gonna do a whole video on this. I don't know, but big shout out to those of you who took on the Gantu challenge in set champs. There's only 3 people I'm aware of who worked Gantu into their deck. One of them is Steven Gettle, who's watching tonight, who tried it out to set champs last week or 2 weeks ago. Mo Shamlin also tried out Gantu, didn't quite make it, but it saw some play. And then I was very excited to see this weekend Devin get a Gantu into play and targeted it with a lucky dime to win a game and qualify him for a set champ promo. Now, I will caveat, there were only, I think, 14 people there. He went 2-2, but that was enough to get him in the top 8 and get a promo. So Gantu made an appearance, won a game, and there's a promo that was gotten out of it. So
look, I'm just saying, smaller set champs tend to be the hardest when I go to them. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think one of the first set champs I went to this season was a 9-person set champ. It was me, Melissa, and Ben from TFM, another local who very consistently makes top 4 or the finals of any win in Enchanted or win a box events, and just the rest of the people in the room were just people who are very solid players. And I was scared when I sat down in the room. Like, my first round was literally Melissa from TFM, and I was like,
"Oh no!
Of course this would happen. Like, why?"
Yeah. Yep. That's true. So this incredibly difficult, grindy, stacked set champ, Gantu, ended up coming out, I mean,
as a one of in the deck.
As a one of, yep. So, but saw some play.
Look, that's taking the challenge seriously. I'm just saying.
I have to say, as a result of the Gantu challenge, I firmly believe that I am aware of every Gantu that has seen competitive play ever. And I think there are only 4. And 3 of them are results of the Gantu challenge. So shout out to all of you folks for giving him a good send-off. Yeah. People commenting on the one-ofs. This was a fun list. One of the things... So Devin is on Team Infinity with Mo Shamlin. And they were all having a little bit of fun. Mo actually, if nobody's seen it, Mo actually ran I think it was a 160 card deck.
Yeah, the Emerald Amethyst list.
Yeah.
I think it was every card that he had gotten like a day 2 with at a DLC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was it. So yeah, so like just as a fun way to send off the last meta, the last 4 sets that are disappearing, he went with that, and it's a lot of fun. So I don't know, I just really like it, when people find ways, like the Gantu challenge or the Haufen challenge, last set champs, or what Mo did, when people find ways to create their own little fun challenges and their own goals in these competitive events, and just have fun with it, because that's what gaming's all about.
No, for sure. Fun fact, my Emerald Amethyst list was a Haufen list this set. So have fun with it.
Yeah.
I think I had like 6 one-ups or something like that. I did just enough to hit like the constraints of the challenge, just because there were a few one-ofs in Emerald Amethyst. I was like, I mean, it was good. This, this might come up eventually. And let me tell you, that one-of Bell that moves damage in my Emerald Amethyst list carried me hard all weekend.
Nice. It's always fun when those one-ofs pay off. Those little, I don't know.
Oh yeah, like there was a moment in one of my top 8s where my opponent, it was Amir, he was also playing Emerald Amethyst, and he played a card, I forget what it was, but he essentially was like, I can't play around the one of Bell. If you have it, you have it. And I just happened to draw it that turn.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's some housekeeping notes. I guess the last thing on the housekeeping front, in case I forget by the end, next show is show 100, which is kind of crazy to me. So I don't know. I had these plans to do like this big thing with a whole bunch of stuff and people, and I don't know. We'll see if I can get to what I want to do with it. But at the very least, probably give away a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. I got a whole bunch of things that I've accumulated, and I don't know. Maybe people will give away stuff. I don't know. So be here next week. We'll do some giveaways, and I promise I'll mail it out quickly. And yeah, it'll be a good time. So yeah. All right. You want to talk about Fabled? Yep. Got to bring Logan back. There you go.
Sorry, hotel Wi-Fi.
No, that's all right. I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is. Yeah, show 100 chat.
Holiday and Express carrying me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, 100th. I don't know, 100th episode. Like, one day we'll talk about how the show came about. I kind of tricked Aaron. I feel like, I was like, yeah, we'll just do this thing, and we'll just just do a couple shows and we'll see how it goes. And if we're having fun, we'll keep doing it. And then we just didn't stop. So anyway. Yeah,
you pulled the husband classic of like, this would be really fun, wouldn't it? And then here you are 2 years later still doing it every Monday night.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. And I think we've only skipped, I think in the whole like 2 years of doing this, we've only skipped like 5 weeks maybe total,
which is incredibly commendable, by the way. I mean, with all the things you have going on in the family commitments, like only missing 5 out of this entire time, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, sorry, respond to the chat. All right. Sorry, chat's on fire tonight. All right, let's talk about some Fabled, shall we? I don't know. So I was kind of excited today. Shout out to May in the Discord server, the actual official Discord server, posted one of these graphics, and it was really cool. And we got the rest on Facebook shortly afterwards. But I think she did this during her free time, kind of laying out what we've seen in each color and then breaking down the rarities, so we kind of know out of what we have left where those cards are likely to fall. So this might be dated already. We may have seen things that I'm not tracking already, but I don't know. I thought it was a really cool breakdown. So hats off to her for doing this during her free time.
No, this is really clean looking. And I like things like this when we're in reveal season, just so we're kind of anticipating what's coming up next. And we can make informed decisions and guesses on, well, maybe this is coming back.
Yeah. So speaking of which, yeah, shout out to my, yeah. So I've got these graphics for each one of the colors. Steel is first because Steel's always last, and I thought it was time to give Steel its due and be first here. So here's a list of everything we've seen so far, I think, and I don't know what. It's difficult to kind of like glean what their intent is for the upcoming meta, especially since I don't know, I haven't had time to really digest, but I've got a few thoughts. But before I do that, like, Logan, anything stand out to you here in Steel or chat?
Steel in general, obviously we're losing the staple removal tools, right? We don't have Along Came Zeus, we don't have Let the Storm Rage On, and we're going back more to set 1 things: Fire the Cannons, the Challenger Eric, Tinkerbell, which I think are fun things to have. I think they were powerful things to have. We still have the Steel Ariel, so if there are enough songs you pair with, she can make a solid return. We still have Robin Hood. If he gets a solid shift target, I just don't think the uninkable 2-drop Robin Hood is a good enough shift target. We still have a lot of powerful tools, but we don't have the meta staples that really made Steel what it was. You know, if you were going to run a Steel deck, you immediately had Strength, Let the Storm Rage On, maybe Lawrence. Mr. Smee was kind of an immediate staple. So there were five or six cards that if you were picking Steel, well, that's already in there. And those are gone now. So we have to find how we're going to fill those gaps. And I think that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. I'm not unhappy to see Storm go at all. I know some people are like, get rid of Strength and Storm. Strength is fine to me. It doesn't replace itself. It's fine. Like,
Strength is fair. I think.
Yeah. So I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see Fire the Cannons back as well. This is like Lorcana's lightning bolt to me. I'm happy to see it stick around. But yeah, it's interesting what we're keeping, what we're losing. Robin Hood was a fun keep. Card very popular for a while, and it was never really like super unpopular, but it was in and out of the meta, often used to sing that 5-cost song, early. But we did lose its 1-drop shift target, as you pointed out, and the 2-drop is fine. Keeping Tinkerbell is nice, as a lot of people have been screaming on social media. We don't have a board wipe yet. No Grab Your Sword, which is kind of a baby sweeper. No Be Prepared. Tinkerbell isn't really a board wipe, but she kind of can do some work in that regard. Her shift target again is not useless, but it's fine. It can.
I mean, she was really good for a while. I think she's gonna probably still be good enough. I mean, we have her, and now we have the evasive Amethyst Tinkerbell. So I think Amethyst Steel still has a lot of leg room to grow and still be there.
Yeah. I am excited to see like Fine and Platinum, like fun. You needed some of that, that item hate, and so that's in there still.
Speaking of, I'm really surprised to see Benja come back. I'm like, that was one I was sure we weren't going to get since we got Fred and Emerald. That is literally just Benja, but an Emerald.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I wonder if keeping around all the item hate is an indicator of where things are going. I don't know.
Because we also haven't seen things like Fishbone Quill, Popsicle, Greatstone Dragon. We're not seeing those staples currently. I don't know what solid items are left, to be honest with you. But maybe they're just trying to plan ahead for that and say, look, if there's going to be an item heavy something that comes out in the next couple of sets, we have tools to shut those down or slow them down anyway.
Yeah. The other fun thing I've enjoyed looking at is some of the like the keyword synergies, the typo cards that are coming back. I'll talk more about a different one later, but in this, a lot of heroes. And I'm not sure if any of those, typo decks are going to matter. We didn't see a lot of them in the last meta. I mean, a little bit of Broom synergy, but really not much. But a lot of
Brooms and allies were like the most relevant.
Yeah. A lot of heroes. So it's interesting here. All right, let's go in another color. Boom, Sapphire. Flounder reprinted. That's the most important thing.
We needed Flounder, obviously.
Yep.
So being honest, Develop Your Brain, I'm really happy that came back. It's a super solid card. Hades, I love Sapphire having some form of removal. Hades being that premium removal. The enchanted he got is absolutely beautiful. Cannot wait to see that in person. RMB immediately saw that and said he needs all of them.
Yeah.
Aurora, if we get decent stuff, yeah. I think she sees some play. Alice, I think, was an interesting bring back. Maybe that's telling that we're going to get some more support characters. I think that was a card that really never got the character package to support her ability, but I think she has the the potential to be strong. But as far as things I really want to see back, I really want to see Fishbone Quill come back.
Mm.
And not having Winnie the Pooh instead of Fishbone Quill feels weird, because I don't know that Winnie the Pooh sees play without Fishbone Quill. I don't know that it's remotely equivalent enough. We'll have to see how things shake out. I do think that the Robin Hood, the evasive Robin Hood, is going to see play.
Mm.
With how heavy evasive decks are going to be, I think he's going to be needed in some way, shape, or form. But we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, Robin Hood's a great example of a card that of a card type that I like to see reprinted in Fabled, and that's cards that saw like fringe meta play. It did see some competitive play, in the first
Yeah,
chapter, and then it made an appearance later on. Not a ton, right? Just a little bit. And it's nice to see this card get a chance to shine some more, as well as cards like Aurora, which are so close to being good. She really just needs a good shift target, or perhaps princesses mattering or whatever. But that giving all your characters ward is it's really, really good. She just needs the couple extra pieces to make her work. So these are the types of cards that are like, some confuse me, like Coconut Basket. I'm kind of like, why? But that's that's fine.
Yeah, things like Coconut Basket, things like Maid Marian,
Yeah.
things like the is that the one drop Jasmine? Like,
Yeah. So I
okay,
wonder with her, I wonder if we've yet to see because Jasmine has a Floodborn version in set one, which I think there's room for. 'Cause she was a rare, so I wonder if she's in there as a shift target for her. If we haven't seen her yet.
yeah, I mean, uh, kind of like with everybody else. When you see the cards that they've chosen to be reprinted, some of them have been staples or fringe play cards, and some of them are like, okay, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Either this is filler, or something we don't know. Well, they clearly do, but um,
I try to take every card that comes back with a grain of salt, right? Because this was their chance to show us kind of where they value power levels, right? Um, what they think a card that costs 1 ink, what its stats going to look like on up to you know on up to 7 ink. I think this was them showing us this is kind of where we like the power level and abilities, this in ink costs, and how things need to kind of be distributed. So it's pretty common. We're seeing one drops that have 2/2 stat lines. We're seeing um, with the new power line, we're seeing cards with an ink cost of 3 have a 4/3 stat line, things like that. Um, so I think that's kind of telling, showing us where they want power to be, and maybe that's their entire design philosophy moving forward. We're just kind of see what abilities they're going to start pushing, or what kind of things they want to try to make synergies with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I do, Sarah pointing out here, a lot of set one cards. I need to go back and do the math, because I think, to me, like, we stared at set one cards so long that they just pop. Like, I see set one cards and I'm like, oh, that's set one. But it does seem like there are a lot of them, and I wonder how much that's because set one was crafted with the like core identity of each color in mind, and so it makes sense to keep those core pieces around. I don't know. I didn't form that thought very well, but I don't know.
No,
There's a
I see
thought
what you
there.
mean. I for sure think part of it is anybody who's played since that one. We've even in fringe cases, we've seen a lot of this artwork forever, right? Going on a little over 2 years now. Um, so when we see those cards, kind of like you said, they pop out instinctively a lot easier than all of the other cards that maybe you haven't paid as much attention to, or didn't see a lot of, Rise of the Floodborn or Into the Inklands, because those sets just kind of had their powerful staples, and we just kind of moved on from the rest of the set. But I agree with you. I think they're bringing back cards that they believe represent what the core of that ink identity needs to be, and they're really trying to solidify what those play styles are going to look like in this meta moving forward.
Yeah. No, well said. I think that's right. Yeah. One other note before last note on this before I move on. You mentioned Jasmine. The other thing I mentioned Heroes and Steel. A lot of princesses and a lot of princess synergy around already, especially with the Moana reprint and Amber. We'll see. But I'm seeing a lot now. Of course, there's a lot of princesses in the game, so there's a selection, thing here. But I don't know. So, and there's another type that I'm interested if we see more support for, because I kind of hope that deck pops off, and I know Enchanted Kim does as well. So yeah. All right, Ruby.
Oh my gosh, we've seen so much of Ruby.
Many.
I am holding out hope that they give Ruby a board wipe. I cannot see a world where Ruby does not have some form of a board wipe. That's like part of its color identity, right? Like,
yeah.
Come on. We have to have something that is either be prepared or be prepared adjacent. It's got to be one of either the super rare or the rare slots. It's got to be one of those two.
I know, right? Like, and you think they know, like, because clearly, unless it's just like huge coincidence, like, do you think they know how badly we want that board wipe and they're just waiting till the end? Like the game dev team's like, hey, marketing, we have one request, and that is make Be Prepared the last card revealed.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it on Thursday during the Lorecast. It will be the last card that's revealed. 100%.
Okay. Well, hey, that's a prediction here. Somebody clip that.
That's my prediction. That's what I think. I do not see a world where Ruby does not have some form of a board wipe. It doesn't have to be prepared. It doesn't have to be Sisu, but they need something that is a board wipe. I feel like Ruby is the ink that keeps other things in check and keeps wide boards in check. And I think we need that kind of balance in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, we could have, you're right, doesn't need to be prepared. We have yet to see like a high damage removal card. You could have functionally do like a be prepared if you had, deal 10 damage to all characters, or even you could lower it to 7 or 8 and give people something to play around. But that's one that I'm waiting for, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Or to be prepared, that's not a song, I guess. But
yeah, I think I can be prepared. That's not a song, or even an action that is a strength-based removal, right? I think that would also be fine. Or even a character cost board wipe, like characters that are 3 cost or less. Like every character that's 3 cost or less gets removed from the board, or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know, like additional link that should be steal 10 damage all characters to steal not Ruby. I suppose, although steal oftentimes with cards like grab your sword, etc., deal damage to all of your opponent's characters. Ruby has a lot of self-damaging cards. There's Teeth and Ambitions, which will damage your characters as well as your opponent's characters. So that could fall into steal, but it also is not outside Ruby's color identity to deal damage to your characters as well as your opponents.
We've also seen a lot of that pushed last set, just like the self-damage stuff. You got the Madame Medusa that deals the damage to one of your characters to balance one of your opponent's characters. You got the new 7-drop Hades that deals 2 damage to one of your characters to draw 2 cards. I think that's what they're trying to make Ruby's identity moving forward. Instead of just like point and click removal, there's some sort of cost associated with the removal. So maybe we'll see something like that. Deal X amount of damage to one of your characters, or banish one of your characters to banish multiple of your opponent's characters. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, Teeth and Ambitions, everyone. Like, that's a
Teeth
thing.
And Ambitions, Teeth and Ambitions was a really good card. Yeah. I don't think it's as good as it was, because characters with 3 and 4 strength are fairly rampant now.
Yeah.
Whereas, when Teeth and Ambitions was good, characters with 2 to 3 willpower was kind of the norm.
Okay, yeah, Joe solved it here. Yeah, there we go.
Deal
Um,
5 damage to any number of your characters to deal 5 damage to that number of opposing characters. Oh, interesting.
it's Teeth and Ambitions. Yeah. My one request. So if we get something like this or a new board wipe, my one request is eventually we need the entire lyrics to be prepared in the game. So they just better just keep that going. Somebody suggested pure a shiny new era. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a fun line. Yeah.
Or at last I'm given my dues, or given my dues. That'd be a fun card.
Yep. Missions are buried. Yep. Okay. We have 3 more colors to go through. Before we do that, Logan, you want to bring in somebody else to help us with the last 3?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
All right. Let's make the screen big to welcome in. So it's been a crime that we haven't had him on the show post Worlds, although Ed is usually hanging out in the chat Monday nights, which is always fun. He's a high impact chatter as well. So yeah, excited to welcome back to the show, Mr. Edchu.
Hello, hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm hanging out. Same old.
Same old. Fasting post Worlds. Go. How does it? I don't know. I know you've gone to Gen Con since then. I know it's been a month now, but haven't talked to you on the show since then. So how does it feel to be a Worlds runner-up?
Oh, that's okay. Honestly, I think everything's still the same. I don't think anything really changed in my life, I feel like. So, yeah.
Just another tournament.
You mean you don't feel more famous than before? Come on, man.
No, I think it's about the same level of famous. I guess it kind of reminds me of like after Continentals, right? It's like, you get your wave of, the people that recognize you and stuff. So maybe it's just because it feels like it's the same people I see anyway at local. So it's like I'm just like another guy to them. So it's all good, At Gen Con, it was nice though. I guess we saw each other at like Gen Con, right? And I thought Gen Con was kind of fun just because you totally get to like meet new people like all the time that you actually would never see on like a normal basis. So I guess that was like a little bit different for me. Just like seeing a lot of people like recognizing me, and I was actually really surprised how many people I guess like tuned in to Worlds and like oh, I recognize you from like that tournament, right? And we all got together and like watch you guys while we were eating barbecue. I was like, man, that sounds fun. Like I wanted to do that, but I'm here stuck at playing at Worlds.
I'm stuck playing the game. Just wait till they start sharing all of the footage in season 2, like for promotional material, and then at the parks when it finally reaches there. So then your face is plastered all over Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Someday, surely, yes.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I did enjoy seeing you and DKP at Worlds there at the WCC table. Because it felt like, honestly, it felt like you were never not talking to somebody. It always felt like people were cycling through, getting cards signed. And yeah, I don't know. I felt cool associating with you, like, because you were.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I recently joined like World Class Cards, right?
Yep.
And like, Robert was able to like kind of fly us out to Gen Con and like hang out at the booth and like meet fans and like play Pack Rush with them, sign cards. I thought that was a really like nice experience. Like I've never like done anything like that, right? So it was really nice. Like people actually watched and like cared about your craft in a way, right? It's like Kendall Hale was also there at the booth. Like he's an actual artist, right? Like this is his actual profession. It was actually really cool, like meeting him and like getting him to like doodle on my cards, and like that's kind of, I felt like I had a little bit of that when I was at the booth. So that was a really cool experience for me, and I would like to do that again at some point.
Yeah, sure you'll have the opportunity. But it was, I don't know, it was cool seeing you back there, and I don't know, getting the recognition you deserve after all the hard work and everything that went on during the year. So I don't know, it was neat. Yeah. So Logan, do you have any other questions like about Worlds? Otherwise, we can get Ed's thoughts on our last 3 colors here before we talk rotation.
I mean, honestly, I was there and I got to talk to DKP a lot, and also Sailor Wonder. So I've literally any question I had about Worlds has more or less been answered. But I guess from Ed's standpoint, what was that? Because obviously Saturday we were watching. there was one moment you won a die roll. I think you rolled a 2, or no, you rolled like a super low, and then your opponent
Oh,
just
the
rolled
3 and the
one.
2 thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I
because
think
in that moment, I think we all were like, if he doesn't win this die roll, what happens? And then you won. You were just
Oh yeah, that's like the
like,
meme. That's like really funny because I
like
remember the
I
next
don't know,
day I
like
also had to. Yeah.
what like
Oh, go
what was
ahead.
that moment like? Just knowing, wow, like my whole day, my whole world's experience could have been completely different if this die roll was just one number off.
Yeah, I mean that could totally happen, right? But I mean, I was very fortunate to be able to even get like the second win, so it's very possible like maybe I'll just like win 2 games on the draw, but I guess we'll never know, right? But I mean, the thing the thing about die rolls is like you can't like control the outcome, right? So it's like whatever happens, you just kind of roll with the punches. And I remember during the second day, like I had to play Ellie again, right? And we were
Yeah.
kind of just like memeing for the camera. We like brought out the dice again. It's like you got a 2 and I got a 3. So I mean, yeah, you just roll the dice and like whatever you get is whatever you get. So yeah, I guess we'll never know. But yeah, very lucky to win that one. I remember people were like, oh yeah, that's like 1/36 chance of like rolling snake eyes, right? And sometimes it happens, right? Like you hit the low part of variance and you do what you can.
I mean, I'm for sure. That was just one of those moments we were watching, and it was like, wow, his plot armor just doesn't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes lucky. True.
But it was fun watching you ham it up too.
Like it was a fantastic moment.
Yeah. I love that when we get to see some of the character shine through, in the broadcast and people, enjoying the ride. I don't know, everybody's taken seriously and it's a big moment for everybody, but yeah, it was fun. Ask Ed if he enjoys all the memes of him. Now, I don't know what memes
Sure.
Cole's talking about, but I don't know.
I know they have the one where I'm like, you know what I mean? Like at the camera. Like, I remember like that moment specifically was so funny. I remember like the camera was just there. It's like, are you guys watching the same thing I'm watching right now? So yeah, it was really funny to be able to do that on the camera.
Oh, hold on. I just got the meme before we move on. I gotta bring this up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there you go.
Because it's funny, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, like it is kind of serious in a way, right? It's like big prizes, prestige, all this kind of stuff. But I guess to me, I was like, honestly, it was just all fun and games, like I was there, I was having a really good time, playing Lorcana, right? To me, that's like the biggest part of it, just being able to have fun. Oh, this is interesting. I think I've seen this one. I don't know how popular this one is, but yeah.
The numerologist. You're starting to use 4 copies of each card. Okay.
I see. Yeah, that's the meme now. Everyone, you have to play 4 copies of everything meme. That's a good one.
Got it.
The good part about Ed, you ever see an Edchu deck list? We call it a clean 2-liner because it's just all 4s.
Yeah, the 2-liner. But I mean, I have experimented with like just one of everything, like the Halfin thing once in a while. I mean, that's also kind of fun. But I think if you want to do like that kind of thing, you need to have like the other parts of your deck also have like some consistency cards. I remember like I played against the other that one time for ICL. I had like 18 one-ofs or something, but I think that was reasonable just because it's like you can play like stuff like Develop and Visions and like look for specific tech cards. So I think if like your deck is constructed that way, I think it's not totally unreasonable to run a bunch of one-ups. But maybe in like random aggro piles, if you're running like 16 one-ups, it's just that's actually just random, right?
Gosh, I hope I find this Pete the exact moment I need it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ed, we were, I think you saw a little bit of it in the green room. We were moving through some of the reveals for Fabled and kind of talking about where we see, the meta going and the game going based on the reprints. You want to dive into our last 3 colors with us?
Yeah. I guess my preface for that is like, like you said, there's like this little infographic of like what cards are missing. And you guys are saying like, oh, the last card, because I remember during which set was Bell? It's like set 7, set 8 or whatever. And then just like
8.
Bell, like set 8, right? It's like that one completely changed the game, right? Just the existence of her. So I really, really hope that this is like one of those similar angles with like you said, like a board wipe like Sisu or like B prep. Because like otherwise, like you can see how like the meta is just gonna be very skewed towards like people playing aggro or like some kind of mid-range piles that go unchecked.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be very unhealthy for the game.
I
Absolutely agree.
I agree. And you can feel like the anxiety of like the competitive Lorcana community just like growing with each passing day as each reveal goes on and there's no board wipe. It's just like the tension is building.
Yeah, I'm sure they have the like you said, the marketing team. I'm sure they're just trolling us. They're just like, let's just release all these bad cards and like mess with them, and then like here's like the super really good cards at the end. Or
Yeah.
maybe I'm coping. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
Maybe it is all cope.
I mean,
Yeah.
speaking like as a perfect example, look here in Emerald. I mean, you have the Merfolk, you have the Enchantress there, those early 2-droppers. I mean, talking about the danger of aggro. You also have Kuzco with Ward, who can sit there and quest for 3, and a board wipe is one of the best answers for him. So even here in Emerald, which is not known as the most aggressive color, you see that aggro bent, which could be, I don't know, could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell by their philosophy by just looking at the cards they decided to reprint. There's like a lot of like 2-questers, right? And I think the other card that I think a lot of people are kind of upset at that was reprint was this Ursula 2-drop. I think like the existence of her makes like a lot of decks just unplayable, right? Because it's like, well, why would you play a song deck if you can just get ripped by Ursula and like lose the game on the spot? And I think Ursula itself also promotes a lot of these like high variance games because a lot of it comes down to like if you play Ursula 2 and you're right, you win the game immediately. And if you're wrong, you lose the game immediately. So maybe they like stuff like that, so that's why they wanted to reprint it. But yeah, I personally, I really didn't want to see this card come back, but here we are now.
And here we are. Here she is.
As an Emerald enjoyer, I really wanted to see her come back, but that's my selfish take.
Yeah, totally reasonable.
Let me steal your Beyond the Horizon and win the game on the spot.
Yeah. It is interesting because when Ursula was printed, I remember when she first showed up, the problem I felt like was be prepared. And everybody was like, there's no answer for be prepared. Ruby gets to turn 7 and it's just over. And Ursula was kind of the check on that. So it's interesting to have her now without be prepared, for the moment. I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Other fun stuff here, but a lot of set 1 still. We do have the, talk about board wipes. We do have that Under the Sea there. Although I think we lose Kita, don't we? Because she's in Inklands.
Yes, but we still do have Sapphire Coil, and we still do have things that manipulate strength. So
if heads held high, that's the tech. You know what I mean? Play heads held high and then sing Under the Sea. I mean, that was even like something I was considering like in green blue even before like the set rotation. Like I think that combo is actually not even that bad. Like it's like -2 cards, but like if you're able to get like 2 cards, it's worth it, right? So I think that could totally be like a valid combo, especially if we don't have stuff like CC2, board wipe, or beat prep.
Yeah. I think Under the Sea is just going to be heavily experimented with and played in general, just because I mean right now it's the only board wipe left in the game. So a lot of people are just trying to make it work in general. Much to Liam's point, right? Like Cusco's kind of going unchecked, but Under the Sea still hits Cusco. So we have a way to deal with this pesky Ward 3 lore character.
We have Sisu at home, basically, at this point.
Yeah. Although
can't wait for it to get ripped away by an Ursula too, so I can't.
Yeah. So maybe everyone just has to play Emerald at this point. Emerald X, that's the meta.
Yeah, right.
Pretty here first.
I mean, it kept a lot of its good cards. And also, I mean, speaking of strength manipulation, Hidden Cove, still here. Which I'm sure Emerald players were excited about.
Well, there's no bird to hide in there now, so it's
yeah. I think that was the main strength. Yeah, the bird. Honestly, I mean, it's totally possible the bird can still also come back, right? Probably not. But like, it's totally possible. Yeah, probably not. Let's do too many like unbalanced play patterns for sure.
I mean, if you keep the bird without its Emerald shift target, you really do restrict its utility. So it's an interesting.
I mean, they might reprint both, right? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, they could. They could. Very Quinting saying, "I need the bird. I hope the bird comes back."
There's also no more Brawl, right? Supposedly, like let's say there's no more Brawl to have an easy check for it, then it really gets to run away with the game.
Yeah.
No Brawl, no Peter Pan. The earliest you can put something up is you have to be playing exactly Emerald Amethyst to have a Diablo 2, or play Blurple and have a Genie or a Dumbo down. Doesn't
Yeah.
sound like a
And
good world
Blurple
to live
seems
in.
reasonable, but yeah, if everyone's only answer is Blurple, then maybe it ends up shifting that way.
Yeah. Okay. Logan, it is 9 o'clock. Do you want to do one more color, or do you need to call it?
No, we can. I'll finish out the inks at least.
Okay. All right. We'll finish out the inks. 2 more. We'll go quicker. All right. We're leaving Ruby for last. Here's Amethyst. Here's Amethyst.
Mm.
I need to digest a little bit.
I love that they brought back Pocket Watch and Magic Mirror.
It does feel like just a set 1 pet card. Thankfully, no Cauldron, right? That's
Magic Mirror was always better than Cauldron.
it's fair.
They also reprinted the Queen. I feel like her time has really been passed at this point, right? Especially with like Dumbo.
Yeah,
Dumbo. It's like, what are you guys doing? You know? Yeah.
Like, why are you going to give us Dumbo and then show us the Queen? Because I think that was the order we saw them in. Like, they revealed Dumbo and then Queen came back. Like, you're never playing Queen over Dumbo, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, you're not playing over it. Like, maybe you just have, like, maybe there's just not a lot of good cards left to play. And then it's like, okay, maybe we can play the Queen for, like, an additional draw, right? For example, like, let's say there's some more, like, friends on the other side. So it's very possible that you run out of, like, card draw at some point. Like, no more rabbit bouncing kind of shenanigans. So it's totally possible there's, like, no more good cards. It's like, okay, what do we do with these last 4 slots? Like, I throw the Queen in there. I'm not saying it's likely, but it's, like, you know, entirely possible.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I almost feel like I would try to jam in like 3 more evasives with Dumbo over Queen, though.
Yeah. Basically the same thing, or actually better. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's interesting. One random thought. This is probably not correct because I think they were talking about later, but they did talk at Gen Con about how they're going to lean more into limited and provide more support for that. And so it's possible that some of these cards we're seeing are leaning that direction, but I don't think that was for Fabled. I think that was for after Fabled. So perhaps that's not the case.
Oh, I didn't even realize they mentioned anything about limited.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it seems like this game is just not tailored to play limited. Yeah. Like, I don't think they make the packs in a way where it's like, okay, this is like a good limited game. But
yeah,
maybe they're trying to make it better.
Yeah, they did mention. I think it was
say
Cooper.
for set 10 they're gonna. Yeah, Cooper said like for set 10 they're trying to make limited a more accessible game mode. So I sure we're still a little bit away from that, but maybe this is kind of going towards that because one of the cards or card type that we're seeing, I feel like every ink has gotten that mono 5 reprint, right? Amethyst has Pooh, Ruby has Card Soldiers, Emerald has the Vieira. Is that her name?
Yeah.
The queen from Ryan the Last Dragon.
Yeah. I'm looking at her.
Verana,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
So maybe we're seeing, you know, those kind of things to make limited more balanced? Question mark. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think something else some of the other games do is they have like pre-made like limited like pack things. Maybe it's like Magic or something, but it's like already like pre-constructed. Maybe it's like you have like how many pack 12, and then they usually give you like 6 packs, right, to play sealed. So it's totally possible they're just like, here's like 72 cards in this little box, and then they can easily hand it out to people, and then like maybe they have all the sheets already like filled out like what cards are in there. I guess like I think you guys talked about it like last week, or I don't know, maybe you didn't, but I remember there was a huge issue with like potentially people swapping cards in during like the sealed format, and I don't know if it got back to like the Ravensburger guys, but yeah, I feel like they need something like that to kind of fix that problem.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like draft packs or something.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, so anyway, Amethyst, good. I think we get Madrigals back, oddly enough, which is kind of fun. People get to play around with those some more. Doubt they'll see competitive play, but it's fun to have them kicking around.
I think it's interesting. Might be playable, actually.
Yeah?
I mean, draws a card. Yeah. Drawing cards are also, like, always nice, right? So I think one of the better cards that got the reprint.
That's fair.
I do think it's weird that we're getting Madrigal support back, but we're losing the one Madrigal that lets you search your deck for a specific Madrigal.
Oh, Alma, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, to Ed's point, I mean, perhaps they're meant to be played on their own. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Anyway, it's fun. Losing friends makes me sad. All right, moving on.
We don't know that yet. There's still
True.
hope.
We don't. And Amber's our last color here. Seen a lot of Amber already. I think everybody disappointed. Rapunzel. All the Amber players upset we haven't seen Rapunzel. Unless
I think we're living in a world where like Rockstar Stitch is good enough again, so maybe we don't need Rapunzel.
Rockstar Stitch. I think the problem with Rockstar Stitch is just like this. There's just too much setup. You know what I mean? Like
It's fair.
I don't. Yeah, I mean maybe there's no more removal, or like the removal is a lot worse, and then that makes Rockstar Stitch a lot better. But like at the moment, I think the setup is still like too much to kind of make that card good.
Well, I feel like the thing that really made Rockstar Stitch obsolete was Medusa, wasn't it? Like all of a sudden you could just play him and then, oh, cool, well, now he's gone. But maybe he's fast enough, but like we're still living in like a Doc Lady world, so maybe he's not.
Yeah, I mean if there's some like new Stitches, right, that were printed. I guess they're all like vanillas, so I don't know if you want to play like vanillas in your deck. Probably not. So yeah, I think there are just better things to do at this point than to play Rockstar Stitch, in my opinion.
Now I'm looking up. I mean, there's Stitches in every set, so I'm like, there's got to be a good target form out there.
I don't know. You wait till Wonder gets a hold of that lantern, and
oh yeah,
yeah.
What did that Steel Stitch do from Shimmer Sky?
The 4 for 1/4 or something, like do 2 damage. Yeah. Like that card's actually not bad. I would say it's like potentially one of the better cards if none of the good removal gets reprinted.
Yeah,
because it's a body, right? It's like Medusa at home kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, then there's the 3/4 Steel Stitch.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, the Banish Draw one.
Yeah, Banish Draw.
Yeah, I mean that card's okay. I feel like the problem with those cards is like kind of conditional, doesn't have like these enter the battlefield like strong abilities. And I think kind of going forward, I realized like if the removal becomes not as strong, maybe those kind of cards can make a comeback, because like they were held back by like you just get blasted every turn by like Storm, Strength. I guess Strength is coming back, or like Zeus. But if those type of effects like don't come back, then I can see stuff like challenge and draw a card be potentially playable.
Yeah. He's saying problem with the Rockstar deck. You want 1 2 drops predominantly. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a high kind of barrier to like deck building, right? Like you have to play a bunch of like vanilla cards potentially just to have one card that you may or may not draw at some point in the game.
Yeah.
I also think something that's kind of unfortunate is like all the really iconic characters I feel like are not very good. Like there are no good like Mickey Mouse cards, and I feel like the Stitch cards are also not very good. You know what I mean? Like of course like Rapunzel is good, and Maui is good, but like some of these are like, especially Mickey Mouse, like that's like the trademark main character of the game. Why are all his cards so bad? Can somebody
because if Mickey was too good, he would just be the face of everything. And then, do they really want Mickey the face of everything? Obviously not.
Of course,
they would give us.
They
would give us better than the 10-drop uninkable.
Yeah, I mean it's a proven formula, right? Mickey, sells cards, so put him on the face of everything.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it is true. I do get a kick out of when like the most threatening card is set is like Bucky or Diablo or these characters which nobody knew their name before Lorcana existed. That is always funny.
Theory, they never want to have to ban Mickey Mouse.
That's fair. Just feel bad, right?
Make them as bad as possible.
Color pointing out Surfer Stitch. Surfer Stitch is another card that draws you cards, but it's very expensive.
It's like if you just compare it to like Doc, it's like it's not even in the same universe, in terms of like how efficient the card is. I think that's kind of the problem with like reprinting a lot of these set one cards. I think back in the day, of course, it's like there's no precedent to be set, but now like the power level of all these like new cards have gone so high that like reprinting these like set one cards, I feel like no one's gonna play them anyway. So it's like, what are we doing here?
Because I feel like a lot to your point, a lot of these old cards, like in the face of the new 4-drop genie, you still just kind of lose the game because you just can't answer genie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Genie's back, basically. It's a genie meta.
And to your point, Ed, I think downshifting some of these cards is an indicator of the design team agreeing. This card was a legendary back in the day. Now it's a super rare, kind of indicating how the power level has changed over time. I was trying to think just close this out. Any other interesting cards here? Tinkerbell gives you a little card draw. Fun to get Pongo back, I guess, for puppies, but I don't know. Moana coming back interested me like a little bit. Like huge princess synergy there, but I don't know. I'm interested to see if somebody cracks the code on that.
Circle of Life might be interesting, cards. Maybe.
Yeah, Circle of Life. That's a good question, Ed. Before we move up, Amber, what are your thoughts on Circle of Life?
Unplayable.
Unplayable. Why?
I mean, I think right now, like these type of like cards are just like too situational. Because I mean, historically speaking, like these type of like, I need to get something into the discard type cards are like not. I don't think they like make the cut, right? Like unless there's a card that's like so good that you want to run like potentially more than 4 copies. I can see this card being good, but I don't think there are any kind of character cards right now that fit that kind of mold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just random.
Maybe with like Maldragon type card, like I think that's like the only card where it's like, okay, this is such a crazy card to like bring back as a song that you can like remove something. Maybe that's where we end up, right? Or like if big Sisu gets reprinted and somehow like Amber Ruby is like an archetype, like bringing that card over and over would be insane, right? Like you can really like attrition like some people out of the game with that.
I mean, this does proc off Powerline. If that card ends up seeing some play, you can find it off the top.
Actually, now it might be really funny. Like if like your opponent's playing discard, and then like Sisu gets reprinted, then you discard your Sisu and you're able to like sing this early, and you just like wipe their board like on an early turn. That'd be so funny. Yeah. Maybe that's like an angle. That's like an anti-discard technology, right? It's
anti-discard technology.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be like a future thing for like, if they print more discard, Circle of Life is just that catch of like, aha, I can get something back. But then you have to hope they didn't have Ursula 2 to rip it from your hand before you get it back.
Oh, that's the other problem. It's a song. But it's also like one of the upsides, like, dude, playing this for 8 is probably just too much. So it definitely needed something like this to make it potentially playable.
So it is interesting because it does sit, this is random thoughts, but it does sit in the same like slot, same cost, everything is under the sea, which was run in Amber Emerald quite a bit. So if you're building your deck to set up for that, this is also available to you. But I don't know if there's anything big that you're going to hit in that deck anyway. So it probably doesn't make it worth it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, especially in Amber Emerald, like the best thing you maybe could have hit was like a Cricky.
Yeah.
It was like an interplay. But like, you really wanted to sing for 8 to bring back a Cricky?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, somebody brought up like, we do have a Revive already, right? And like, look how much play that card got. Basically not, right? So unless the card is really so insane that you like want to play like 8 copies of it, I would say like this probably won't see any play.
Yeah, I imagine it's one of those cards that it's at some point, later in the meta, somebody's going to find a way to work in 1 or 2 and have it be effective. But I don't know. Anyway, the art's bonkers, so I'll just leave it there.
It's a very pretty card. You have to give it that.
It is probably, it might be the best art in this set. I'm not gonna lie. Look at it. Look
It's
at this.
iconic, you know.
Yeah. I didn't even notice they have the wildebeests here, or the gazelles or whatever in the text box. How cool is that? Anyway,
Yeah, that's kind of cool. The foiling might be cool too. Yeah, once they show that.
The luminaries, the sun, like they got everything in the clouds here. It's bonkers.
All the animals in the clouds. Yeah.
Yeah. Zazu with the frame break, like super cool. Might be the best art in the set. I'm just throwing it out there. Somebody make a counter argument.
The new Enchanted Hades.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty good. But it has all that room to play with, though. So it's unfair comparing Enchanted to normal frame cards. Shout out very Welly for that. Something else I was gonna say on that, and I have forgotten. Anyway,
okay, we forgive you.
Yeah, I don't know. Long day at work. So Logan, do you have to go, huh?
I do. I have to. Yeah. I have to go hit the bed because I have to be up at 5 a.m. I'm not excited about it.
Yeah. Well, have a good week. We'll see you here next Monday. Any closing thoughts for the crowd before you head out?
I'm excited for Fabled. I'm excited to get the rest of the cards for Fabled so we can actually start building decks instead of guessing. I'm sure Ed's somewhere in that same spot.
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy is like, I'm not gonna even think about it until I have all the cards, because I really think they're gonna literally the last card be prepared, and it's like completely changes the entire meta, right? So I think there's kind of there's like no purpose in testing it until we have like all the information, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Because we started before we had a lot of reveals, and then things like Dumbo came out, and we're like, oh, okay, well, all the stuff we thought immediately out the window, doesn't matter anymore. And then Ursula 2 got re-released, and we're like, cool, well, all the things we thought, because these things are safe now, they're not anymore. So because things are changing so rapidly with the things that are revealed, like any testing you're doing right now, it could just change within 2 days. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, Logan, have a good day tomorrow. I don't envy you that wake up. 20-year-old Liam, could handle that. 40-year-old Liam cannot. So I don't envy you that at all. But yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, no. Thanks for having me. Just steal Ed. He'll do much better card analysis than me.
All right. Take it easy.
Yeah. You guys have a good night.
Take it easy. Next week. Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. It was a bummer saying goodbye to him midway through the show. If you have a couple more minutes, I just want to pick your brain a little bit about rotation and Fabled, and
sure.
I don't know. I was gonna ask, like, have you started tinkering yet? And clearly the answer is no. Because I was looking at the card list, and I haven't done the math on what we've seen as far as reprints versus like new cards, but it does feel like we're missing quite a few of the new cards. Like this is mostly reprints, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't. Yeah, I think I don't know the exact math, but they said there's 33 new cards, right? And I'm not sure how they did like the breakdown. Like, did they do like one of each, like dual ink? So that's like 15. Let's say, for example, it's 15, right? And then there's like 18 cards left over, and then maybe they do like 3 cards per like color. Is that the breakdown? I have no idea.
I haven't done the math either. I'm not sure. Somebody in the chat probably knows, but I don't know how they've broken it down.
Yeah.
But it's true. We haven't seen any dual inks yet. And I assume that this math here in these charts doesn't account for those, or it makes the assumption that these cards will be allocated to the inks evenly, which might be. Although I guess we'd know from the numbering, right? No. Because they don't.
No, they actually mix it. I think they actually mix them into like the normal cards, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I honestly don't know the answer. But just like my visual check, it kind of looks like we're still missing quite a few new cards, which you're right would change everything.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the Bell, the Genies of the world, the Sharks of the world, Tomatos of the world. like those got actually like released like pretty late, right into the spoiler season.
Yeah.
And like without those, I think the metas would be like completely different. So personally, I'm not trying to sweat it too much until I get all the information. And if it requires me to like, grind it out for, however many hours a day until like those tournaments come out, then that's what I'll do.
Yeah. Are you excited about rotation?
Yes and no. I guess like I was kind of like thinking about on my journey, right? Like how like all the kind of metas unfolded. And I realized I did the best during the metas that we played like fair mid-range games. So like an example is like, set three, like RP mirrors. Those are like my favorite metas because it's like there wasn't really ever like a super blowout. Obviously, it's like, oh, one person drew all the rabbits and then like one person didn't. Okay, fine. But like most of the time, there's like tons of back and forth and like a lot of like skill expression, a lot of decisions to be made. And I feel like that's like the game I want to play, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like in these like recent iterations, especially after Lady came out, it's just like, man, let me do my triple one drops into Lady Piglet, and then I'm just gonna go sideways. And then if you don't have the answer exactly, you're gonna lose the game, right? And personally, like I don't have any fun playing those type of decks, so I try not to play them. Even if they're the best deck, like in the meta, I still wouldn't play it. And like, of course, like your success will suffer from it, right? If you decide not to play like just the best deck. And it's not like I refuse to do it, but I just don't have any fun doing it. And I think part of the fun of like playing Lorcana is playing like the cards that you like to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping that all the cards after they get revealed, like there is some kind of mid-range strategy and not just like let me dump my entire hand and like turn sideways. But I can totally see like why they ended up going this way. I think these like I'm not trying to like put down players that play these decks. I'm not doing that all right. It's just personally for me, that's like not my style. But I would say like these decks are easier to kind of like learn in a way because it kind of teaches you a lot of fundamentals of like how do I win the game, right? And like these are the best, most efficient cards to win the game. So I think for newer players, it's definitely a good way to kind of get your feet wet. And then afterwards, maybe you can try like a little bit more complicated decks with like more sequencing, more decisions to be made, being able to like control the board properly with your resources. So, I mean, for like a casual player, I would say like these type of decks really should appeal to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, and I agree with everything you said. There are certainly, and not to again put down any players who play these decks because there's definitely with these, especially these aggro like control-y decks, there's a lot of skill that goes into it. I'll always shout out Clara Sear, who's one of my favorite aggro players who qualified for in a very like control heavy meta, who piloted these aggro-y lists into nationals. But I think what it is like the script for that deck requires you to perform certain combos and actions in the first few turns of the game. And so for a newer player, you're not asking them to memorize the script for turn 1 through 4 and the script for 5 through 6 and then the scripts for turn 12 and onward. It's like, hey, this is what you want to do in the first 5 turns, and if you can memorize this script and you can interact in this way, then you have a good chance of winning, as opposed to a much longer playbook. But yeah, it's an interesting point. I'm a mid-range player. Like I love tempo, and it's why I can never get away from Emerald Amethyst. It's my favorite. I don't like hardcore control either. I don't know.
Those can be really grindy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because I would say like in Lorcana, there's no really true control. Like most of the like decks, like even like Ruby Amethyst, like some people call it like a proper control deck. I mean, in a way it is, but ultimately there's still like some kind of mid-range aspects to it, right? Where you're not like actually just doing nothing. Because like in Magic, there are some decks where you're literally just doing nothing, right? For like the first 8 turns.
Counterspell, Force of Will,
yeah, et cetera, right? And like I think there's actually a lot of game to be had, like even in your control decks in Lorcana. I think that's why like it's still kind of fun. You can like play the role that you need to be playing in order to win the game. And I think the flexibility in that makes like Lorcana a good game.
I agree. And I wonder if this is not the direction I tend to go with this, but I think part of that is a function of the resource system. Because each card can be ink, it allows you to shift your strategy, and that's what makes tempo so fun to me, is you can adjust toward being more aggressive, being more controlly. Even in the control decks like Ruby Amethyst, as you talked about, you can ink away some of your mid game if you don't need it, or you can ink away some of your end game and lean into the early game. But that's what makes the resource system to me so ingenious, is it enables that kind of flexibility with your builds and your strategies.
I mean, I think Lorcana kind of tainted my brain in a way where it's like I always have like Lorcana brain now, because like I would play some of these other games and then I would just like like they have like mulligan systems, altering systems, etc. And just like I have all these like extra low cost cards. It's like, oh, this is fine, I'll just keep it for ink. It's like, wait a minute, I have to play this at some point actually. So I think that's why it's good. I think you can use the cards as a secondary card if you need it to be a secondary card, and then if you don't, then you can actually play it, right? So I think they really got down that aspect of it, and I think that's why the game is so good. And I think that's also why you always see like a lot of the top players like perform well. It's because there's so much flexibility in it that if you know what you're doing, I think you can really get to the end like fairly consistently.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, a lot of people talk about the the important. Now, the die roll clearly matters, in this game. I won't say it doesn't, but a lot of people talk about the die roll and how important it is and how you can luck into certain things. And yes, that does matter. But it does say something in this game where, consistently you have certain players, even if they're not making the top cut at every DLC, they're in the running. And to me, that says something about the level of skill that this game and its mechanics allow you to express, because chance cannot explain the finishes of a lot of these players, yourself included. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why they tried to do the 2-game format, right? To kind of mitigate that die roll aspect of it. And I think that's when it actually really showcased like all the top players, because we actually removed like that part of the equation. So honestly, I'm not very excited for like the best of 3. Like I personally think that actually will be kind of the die roll format. Like I think I've told this to like a lot of people at this point. Like at Worlds, like day 1, I literally want all my die rolls, right? And I think that actually contributed a lot to like my success for that particular day. And who knows like what would happen? Maybe if I lose 5 die rolls, like maybe I don't even make it to day 2. And I know some players, I think Federico, one of the European guys, they like lost like 4 die rolls, right? And they still made it to day 2. Like honestly, like hats off to that guy, because like that's way harder to do. You lose like majority of your die rolls and you still make it to day 2. That's like a really hard like thing to do.
Yeah, that's like I'm glad you brought up the 2-game format. We're going everywhere now, because I think the impression that that we got from the community when they announced the switch to 3-game format from the challenges, it seemed to be one of universal praise. But I'm kind of with you. I don't hate the move. I understand why. I understand the draw decisions and the the split decisions that force people into early and all that. All that. I get it. But at the same time, people act as if the 3-game format is just better, when in reality there are significant trade-offs. And we're not necessarily trading one format for one that's objectively better. It's just different pluses and minuses. And yeah, so I don't hate the move, but at the same time, I think acting as if it's objectively better than 2-game is not necessarily the case. It is subjective.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to say about that is, I think they obviously did their playtesting for the 2-game format, and I think after they put it in practice, I think the main issue they found was that there was tons of collusion that happened during like 2-game format, and like 3-game, like in a best of 3, there's a lot less, right? Because it's like you actually have to play it out. You have to go, squeeze out your points. But in the 2-game format, like it actually really disincentivizes you to play the game and instead play the system.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing about like 3-game format or like best of 3 is like once you go to like top players, I think that actually like is what determines like who wins the match a lot of the time, especially in Lorcana where it's like so favored. I think it's totally possible, like if you have a large skill discrepancy, you can totally overcome it in like a best of 3 and you lose the die roll format. But I think it's just like kind of particularly like bad, especially like at the world's format, where it's actually like the top players of the world, and like I feel like a lot of the games were actually just determined by who won the die roll.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting point. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it plays out. How it plays out this season. I'm excited. After the first deal, did you get into Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got in Milwaukee. I'm also going to Bologna, so
Oh,
that should
dude.
be fun. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Traveling the world. Shout out to World Class Cards for sponsoring me on this endeavor. Otherwise, like, yeah, it'd be a lot to like do all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to that's so cool. I can't wait to follow your. You haven't been to a European challenge yet, have you?
No, honestly, like I haven't really traveled like at all. I think I've only been out of the country like one time, and I think it's really unfortunate because like I'm sure you've probably went through the same thing. It's like I think around COVID time is like where I became a proper adult with proper funds to like go travel the world.
Yeah.
It's like okay, let's go, and it's like COVID, everything shut down, and like I never really had the chance to like go travel the world, right? So I think I was really excited. Like obviously, it's a downside where last season we had 6 NA, 6 EU, like 1 Australia. And a lot of people are disappointed just because there's a lot less like within your own country, right? But like me personally, I'm really excited just because it's like I like that it's spread out because it gives you an opportunity to go travel the world, go see other things, and have an excuse to go do those things, right? Instead of like I'm gonna go do all these like sightseeing things, but in addition to those, you can also play the game that you love. So yeah, I'm really excited for next season, and yeah, I hope they do this again.
Well, I can't wait to follow your European exploits. I'm interested in your report when you get back. Get a pencil us in for your return because I want to know. I want to know what it's like over there. Those challenges. Yeah, no, I'm also interested. I started this topic because I'm interested to hear your thoughts after Milwaukee. You and the other players who did a significant number of challenges last year, or even the worlds. How you think it stacks up? Because I guess people have experienced 3-game in smaller events, but certainly not during DLC. So, yeah.
The first major tournament I've been to was the CCS 8K, like literally the first one, right? Where Zan won, and I got second in that one, and that was like a best of 3 format. And I would say it's probably about the same in terms of like how the like the gameplay and like all this kind of stuff is, but I guess it's just the system is different, right? So honestly, I don't really expect much to be different. I guess the actual big change they did was to add way more rounds, right? I think that it's like 8 on the first day and 4 on the second day.
Yeah.
And I think this will really be like a huge stamina test for a lot of people, especially like if you've never been to like one of these like major events. Like the most rounds that I'm sure like some people have played is just like I set champs, right? Maybe like 5 rounds. And it's like, man, I'm already tired after this.
Yeah.
Like imagine you got to go 8 and you have to go travel. Don't forget that. So it's just like, let's say it's like on the other side of the country, you go travel, you have to play 8, go to sleep early, play another 4. And then if you keep going after that, you got to keep playing for the rest of the day, right? So I think that's going to be kind of a big kind of shocker to some people if you're not kind of used to this like long grind of a weekend.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm tired after commentating like 7 rounds. Like I'm gassed after that, or 9 rounds even. So yeah, it's just gonna be interesting, and it really highlights too. We talk about one of my I say this line all the time, but one of my favorite lines, like Frank Carson ever said, was he's never won more games of Lorcana or games of a TCG tournament than hours of sleep he got the night before. And that whole like self-care and hydration and sleep and all that's going to come into play in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you saying that like before, like on the podcast, right? And I remember like when I think I personally also agree with that. Like when I won like DFW, I remember I was like with my roommate that we actually both made day 2, right? We were running the same 60. And I was like, oh yeah, let's go out and eat and like party. Or no, I didn't say that. I wanted to just go out to eat, right? Maybe sit down somewhere. But he was like, you know what? Let's just like get something to go back to the hotel and just sleep and just get as much rest as possible. And yeah, next day I ended up winning, right? So I think there is definitely a lot to like feeling good. If you feel good, then you definitely play better. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind couple more questions before we wrap up. One, so we talked a little bit about, we kind of danced around like what we think the meta is going to look like on that. And I know you said it's premature to kind of guess without those cards, but broadly, we're kind of moving into what Ravensburger's called like the next chapter. We're getting Fabled reprints, we're getting rotation. There's a lot of fresh things coming out. Like big picture, what are your hopes for Lorcana during this next chapter? Where do you want to see it go? I know that's a big question.
Like in terms of gameplay or like the lore or like events?
Not lore necessarily, but let's say events and let's say like gameplay. We'll say both of those. Like what are you hoping to see that's new and I don't know, how are you hoping they keep this train rolling?
Yeah, I mean, I already kind of expressed my like thoughts on like the aggro meta aspect of it. I don't know if that's like ultimately healthy for the game. I mean, if they want to cater to certain audiences, it might be. I think for the ultra competitive like grinders, I think it's kind of a turnoff. Maybe there's some like ultra competitive like aggro player. I'm not really sure. But like for me personally, and like some of the people that I know that really are invested in the game, we ultimately don't want to see stuff like that. So I think we ultimately want to see like, fair, what we call fair Lorcana, right? Where you're not kind of having, we call like non-games, where it's just like, there's actually absolutely nothing you could have done to change the outcome. And I think that also like, it brings a sour taste, like even for like new players where it's like, they lose and it's like, well, what could I have done? And the answer is actually absolutely nothing. So I would like to see like maybe potentially like better solution cards and just have like some play patterns that enable you to beat these non-game openers. And I think that's the kind of scary thing, like specifically with the card Daisy, right? Like Daisy was in like set 5, I think. And I think that card really changed how the game is played now because it's so efficient of a card that we don't have anything that even matches it in terms of like a solution card at the moment, right? Like when is the earliest you can remove a Daisy? Like a lot of the cards that are not reprinted, like Fox, Crab, and I guess Sisu is reprinted, but like it doesn't have that big Sisu like upside. So stuff like Fox and Crab kind of kept like Daisy in check a little bit. But now we don't have those either, right? So it's like, what are your solutions if someone just goes triple Daisy? Like, do we just go next? I mean, you don't really have a choice, right? So I would kind of like to see some answers for like those type of cards. And in terms of events, like I can see that they already are like trying to shake things up, right? Try to like go global with it. And like I know logistically speaking, trying to organize like a 2,000 player tournament is like a huge feat, right? So it's nice that they're still like keeping it at the 2K. I know a lot of people are like, oh, we want like the 4K or like the 8K or like some unlimited cap. But I can totally see why like it's just going to be too much of a logistical nightmare. And they've proven that they could do the 2K tournaments. So I think it's totally reasonable to just like keep it that way. And if you can't make one, then obviously you'll try to go to the next one, right? But it's just kind of unfortunate that like there are, or maybe it's like good and bad, right? There's so many people that want to play the game and just not enough space. But I mean, I think that's kind of just the reality of it, right? Like not everyone could get in potentially, and I think they are trying their best, and I hope they keep trying their best going forward.
Yeah. What do you think of them leaning into this CCQ technique to give people more invites to Nats and Worlds?
Yeah, CCQs. I'm not gonna say that they're like easier than like DLCs, but I mean they kind of are in a way, right? I remember they tried to do the thing with like the LCQs, right, for nationals or continentals, and I think there was definitely like a huge skill gap between like the people that qualified through that than the ones that qualified through the DLCs. But if they wanted people to like have some kind of like local representation or like regional representation of their region that is outside of Milwaukee or Richmond, I think it totally makes sense because like of course like not everyone has the means or like have the time to travel like across the country, like especially if you're on the West Coast, right? For example, like I'm on the West Coast and like it's definitely like a huge barrier of entry if I had to like fly all the way across the country to go play.
Yeah, DLC and, like, desert over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely nothing, right? So yeah, I think it's a good like step forward in terms of being able to include like everyone in the country, being able to like spread out and find the good players of every region, right? So I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's still like not easy, right? Like let's say for example, it's like one invite per 128 or 256. That's still like a lot of players you have to fight through to get that invite. So I think it's a good idea to like have tournaments on a smaller level that funnels to like a larger level, because I think that was like one of the kind of gripes I had for the first season. It's just like you either set champs or you're DLC, literally nothing in between. So I think it's good that they're kind of addressing this by having like a lot more tournaments and actually like officially sponsoring them, right? Because I know
Yeah.
a lot of honestly like a lot of the success of Lorcana really comes from the community, like third party like vendors like CCS, SSG, and it's really nice to like see those vendors be rewarded for that by giving them extra additional price support or giving them the CCQ slot, because I think without them I would say Lorcana would definitely not be like where it is today.
I completely agree. And you mentioned, early on, like the first CCS, like what Charlie's did from the jump for competitive play. And then, the other ones you mentioned, SSG, in Clash, what they're doing now, up north in the DMV area. There's somebody who am I blanking out on? PPG now with their circuit. Like it can be overstated what they're doing to fill the gaps in the competitive scene. So I agree with you. And it also like conversely makes sure that those events are kind of complying with the vibe and the standards that Ravensburger wants in these third-party events. Because I assume, to get a CCQ, there's certain expectations that you have to meet. And so it's really nice to see the CCQs and the organizations doing that come together with the company in that way. So yeah, it's really nice. Sharp Gaming trying to get the numbers up there. Yep. There's a good note. I agree. Sharp Gaming also doing some great stuff down there in Arkansas, another big DLC or competitive play desert. So yeah. I had one. So one more question for you from the chat. I said I didn't ask you about the lore, but Sarah wants to know what your hope for the story is and the lore. And I don't know. Do you follow the story much?
It's funny. I remember at the panel, that was like the first time that I like saw the kind of story, like how all the sets. Because honestly, like you, I'm sure I don't know. You follow what I thought all the sets were kind of just like random. You know what I mean? It's just like there's like putting all these like random lore things together. But that was really cool, like seeing them. It's like, oh, you went from this place to that place, and then they sailed the sea and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, it is kind of cool. Like I know they announced like all these like other kind of small IPs within Disney that they're going to add. So I mean, personally for me, I guess I don't really. Okay, fine. Yeah, you caught me. I don't really care about the lore that much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, personally, like I'm a what they call it, competitive player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I just like to play the game because it's like a fun game. Like I like to play for like the mechanics, and like it is kind of cool like playing Maui. Like I do like Maui, right? That's my favorite character. So I hope they also reprint Maui, like the Rush Maui. I think that card is kind of important to the Ruby identity. Like I think he's like the epitome of the Ruby identity, right? Like being able to rush, be like efficient, like he's the like poster child for like efficient mid-range character, right? Usually gets like a 2-for-1, and he does exactly what you need, like most of the time in that ink slot. So yeah, I am excited for whatever IP they put, as long as it's good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just seeing if there's room for Maui here, because I think Maui's totally fair, and I like him as well. Look, there's some rare spots left there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Maui back as well. Yeah, I think he's a very fair card. And what other answer? Like, there's very few like giant like McDuck Manor answers, like giant location answers. And I don't want to see a meta where it's winning is constantly dropping. Sorry, Ed, no offense, but when dropping like 4 Queens castles.
No, I don't like that either, to be honest. Like, I think that's like a very unfair play pattern. Like recently, I haven't really been doing it, but I know certain people like enjoy dropping McDuck Manors. I mean, yeah, like that, like protect the McDuck Manor gameplay is like also kind of unfun in a way, right? So I guess it's like pick your poison kind of thing, right? You want to lose to daisies, you want to lose to McDuck Manors. So I guess they're removing McDuck Manor, so I guess now we'll just deal with the daisy thing.
Yeah. Daisy. Yeah, I agree with you. It needs to be a Daisy answer. All right. I guess unless there are any other questions from the chat, look at Wonderland. Make him an uninkable 4-cost 8-2 Rush Reckless. Is that a Maui or a Herc reference? But
Is that
either way,
Herc? Yeah,
yeah, that's
like
Herc.
the slightly worse Herc, I guess.
Yeah. There you go. I guess last question while we wait for any more from the chat. What is the best card in the game?
Best card in the game. For me personally, like I'm biased, right? Like I like playing Ruby cards. So I think the best card in the game is Sisu, like the big one. Was it Empowered Sibling
That's
from
it.
Golden Warrior? One of them, the big one.
Empowered Sibling. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Empowered Sibling. Yeah, I think that card is really strong because I think besides just like potentially like banishing a bunch of characters, it also quests for 3, right? And I kind of like look back at all my success in Lorcana. It actually comes down to like me playing that card specifically. So like a soft spot for that card in particular. But also I guess like be prepared. I think that card also keeps like the game potentially fair. I know a lot of people are like, oh, how do you play around be prepared? But it's really funny because I think at this point, actually, I think be prepared also kind of got power crept because the decks are so much faster, right? Like the Daisy Lady thing is just like you can potentially just like lose the game before you even get to play be prepared. So I think the shift Sisu thing kind of is the only other potential way, right? Because the Sisu can potentially stop a little bit of the bleeding, and then if you're able to shift on it, then you can take the game back from there.
Yeah. That's good. Bella asks, what character do you want to see in a future card? Do you have a Disney character who hasn't made an appearance?
So back to what I was saying. No, not, not
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it like, I like I mean, if you think about it, like, do the cards match the card effects like match the lore of the character?
Yeah.
I guess some of it kind of does in a way, right? Like if you think about Rush Maui, it's like, yeah, he's like, there for the action, right? So it makes sense he has Rush. He's like a big body, so like the willpower and the strength kind of like match up in that way. And stuff like Tremaine, right? Like Lady Tremaine, she's like, the evil stepmother, and she just wants to like banish like, somebody from the game. So I guess it's kind of cool that I think they actually did think about this, like, does the character kind of match the lore of the game? So yeah. I,
Sometimes, yes,
Mhm.
like Ursula picking songs or like Ariel being a singer, and then sometimes like Daisy Duck being like a 1/4 huge aggro character. Like, it's okay.
So
It's
put her in the
sure.
right outfit. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Last, we'll ask this question for Wesley, even though I have a feeling that without seeing the cards, you don't have an answer. But in the interesting the chat, Wesley asked, "Do you think blue-green control can rise as a dominant control deck, with red-blue getting little love?"
Yeah. I mean, there was already kind of like a blue-green control deck. Basically, if you substitute like, the Sisu out of the game and you replace it with Under the Sea, isn't it basically the same thing?
Yeah,
So, I mean,
sure.
it's totally possible, right? If we don't get a wipe, then we're gonna start doing these like, Sisu at home type things with like, Sapphire Quote into Under the Sea or, that kind of thing. So I can totally see like if Ruby doesn't get anything, then it most likely actually will be Emerald Sapphire, right? Emerald already has so many like, good cards. Like Ursula got reprinted. There's still like, for example, Chip to do like some discard. And then, Sapphire has like still all the good powerful ramp cards are still like in the game. So that can totally be possible to, Emerald Sapphire being our premier deck.
All right. Last question, Ed, I promise. But one more question from the chat that I think is interesting. Are you interested in Infinity? Are you going to lean into that at all?
In its current state, probably not. I think it's just because it's like you think like the post rotation aggro is worse. Like I think the current iterations of aggro is actually really bad. So unless they do something about that, then I probably won't play it. But I mean, obviously, I'll still like go to the Infinity format, like DLC, and I'll try my best, right? But it's not like I'm not gonna like it, but I'm still gonna try. So yeah, if it comes down to it, yeah, of course, like if there's events for it, I'll go play. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I'm excited to see what you do with it in that third DLC. Yeah, it's the Wild West to start. True. All right, Ed. I think I've kept you longer than I said I would. This was it was an hour.
All
Thanks so much
good,
for
all good. Yeah, of
hanging out
course.
with me this long. Before I let you go, and we're going to end the show here shortly, but before I let you go, I want to make sure people know how to follow you. People already do, like everybody's following you already, but in case you aren't, one of the ways you can follow Ed is here on Twitter, where he keeps people up to speed with what he's got going on. Look at that. Look at that. World-class cards. It's a good graphic.
Yeah. Shout out to the new team, World Class Cards.
Yeah.
We haven't really played as a team yet, but we got a lot of new members to the team, and I think that's like, it's fun to share your ideas with like other people of like-mindedness, right? So I think they definitely fit the bill for that, and of course DKP is the world champion, and he's one of the best in the game, and I think that's how you really get better, right? Being able to play with the best, that's how you become the best.
Steel sharpens steel, or iron sharpens iron. I forget what the.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's true. And shout out to World Cards. I spend way too much money with them buying.
Yeah, I see you over there.
I don't need.
With the
Yeah, I know you got.
That's a really funny thing. It's like these things are not anonymous, right? Like on the whatnot, and I know some people. I'm not going to call any names or anything, but it's like gotten to the point where they actually have to make new accounts. So it's like, what are you talking about? That's not me. That's Joe Schmo 123. So we might you might have to go down that route. So.
Right. I've made no secret of my identity over there. It's too much. So shout out to World Class for their excellent sales ability.
They have a lot of high-end collectible stuff. So
yes,
totally makes sense. I don't blame you at all. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to do what you got to do, right?
Probably the best. I mean, they have to have the best Lorcana collection in the world, right?
For sure. Yeah. They definitely own like a lot of the high-end stuff. So no ad here. No ad, by the way.
Right. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. But it could be if World Class Cards is interested. I'm just saying.
It could happen, yeah.
Yeah, but no, thanks so much, Ed. Anything coming up? Any big plans?
Oh yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to some tournaments that are in the Bay Area. I don't know if like a lot of people are from the Bay Area or not, but I think or I know some people, like shout out to Josie in particular and Jordan. I think they're trying really hard to make NorCal like one of the premier competitive kind of Lorcana spaces. So I think on August 23rd they're having Josie calls it the Bibbidi Bobbidi Brawl, right? The BBB. As people love that alliteration, and before we gave out like first place, DLC foil Cinderella, and then second place we gave DLC foil Let It Go, and then third we gave a DLC Rapunzel. So I think these are like one of the better like tournaments, especially like if you're in the local area, to kind of test your skill, right, against like the top players of the region. And I went last time. It was really fun. We had like giveaways and stuff like that. So I would recommend you guys going.
What were the dates for that again?
August 23rd is the Bibbidi Bobbidi Brawl at the Game Castle Santa Clara. I think Game Castle is like a pretty good or pretty big kind of conglomerate. So it's one of their kind of locations in the Bay Area. And another tournament is the Fabled Showdown, September 13th at the Constellation Collective in Sacramento.
Okay.
And it's basically like I think they're giving like Fabled boxes as prizes, and also for first place there's the DLC Cinderella foil playmat, and then second place is also like 2 boxes of Fabled and the Gen Con playmat. I know those like have been getting pretty expensive, and like people like to collect those type of things, right? So I think these tournaments are really good just to have something in between to kind of test for these major DLCs. So come out and play.
Yeah. Well, shout out to that. If I can find show notes or links, I will make sure to or if I can find links to those, I'll make sure to put those in the show notes so people can check those out. If you're in the Bay Area or California at all and want to check out these tournaments, definitely go check them out. The prize support sounds pretty cool. And shout out to those organizers for keeping competitive play going in California. That DLC desert over there.
Exactly. We need something to play for, right? And I think they're doing the best job that they can for like whatever we have here. So yeah, shout out to them.
That's awesome. And yeah, and just so for you, Ed, and I see people are tagging me. I've got the flyer apparently in Discord. It's going to take me a minute to pull it up though. But the for anybody watching or for you, Ed, as those tournaments wrap, definitely give us a shout out. With tag the winners and let us know who won. We'd love to highlight the winners and how that event went, and perhaps we can even have the tournament organizers on after that as well. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure they would love that.
Yeah, I think
I think they're watching right now probably because they actually just messaged you.
That's probably true. I see a lot of like California folks in the chat here. I think we've had Jordan on before. Have we had?
Oh, I think you have Jordan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys had Jordan on before, but
yeah,
I think Josie's one of the more quiet ones, but she actually does a lot for the community, and I think without her, like I think NorCal, particularly Lorcana, would not be what it is today. So yeah, shout out to her.
Shout out to the I mean, I don't know. We've said this numerous times about the show, but like the third parties and the community members who keep this game going, the company can only do so much, DLCs can only do so much, and it's the game stores, it's the community members who largely, I mean, here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize: a lot of these big tournaments don't make money. In fact, a lot of them lose money, and certainly the tournament organizers are giving time and energy and effort where they could be doing other things, organizing these events, and it's in a way it's selfless because there's not a lot of people getting a lot out of it personally, other than the fulfillment of seeing the community come together and being able to play in these competitive events. So shout out to all you community organizers and game stores and third-party organizers out there. We appreciate you. All right. That was my spiel. All right. Well, Ed, thanks for those shout outs. Definitely stay in touch. You're welcome on the thanks for hanging out like every Monday night in the chat.
That's fine.
But you're welcome on anytime. And you know what? Rather than say goodbye, I'm just gonna spend 60 seconds closing out the show, and we'll end it here. Thanks everybody for watching. Just a couple notes before we go. Next show is show 100. I don't know how we got to 100. We just started doing this and we didn't take breaks, and now we're at show 100. I have no idea what we're gonna do, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll probably play some flashbacks, and we'll probably give away a lot of stuff. Because I don't know, I've got a lot of stuff sitting around here. So
sure, from the wheel.
yeah, that is true. And a lot of that's at PSA, but but I got some stuff. I got some channels. I got some other stuff, but we'll give away some stuff. So we'll have a big, I don't know, we'll have a celebration, but show 100s next week. So bookmark that, come hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. And if you missed it, I said this at the beginning, but we just finished, or we're almost finished with our Gen Con coverage. So if you're interested in interviews with Greg Tito or Organized Play lead Stephen Cooper or Elaine Chase, we have those interviews up, and we have another video where we follow Sarek through Collection Quest. It's a lot of fun. Go check them out on the channel. But we've got those up this week, and I'm pretty proud that we got those up that quickly, because usually we don't. And then lastly, do like, subscribe, do all those things, and shout out to our Patreon supporters who keep the show going, because these subscriptions cost money. So all of you out there who are Patreon supporters, thank you so much. And the link to that is in the show notes if you want to check it out. Other than that, Ed, any closing thoughts before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I mean, excited for the next season, and keep grinding.